Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. My name is Sam Fletcher. I am the Executive Director of the New York State Chapter of NASW, and I have my co-host with me today. Notion, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Notion. I'm the MSW representative, and I'm also the chair of the comms committee for the NASW.
Thank you, Notion. So we're just going to start by going over what we're doing at the chapter. I'm going to provide an overview of larger chapter operations. Then I'm going to hand it over to Notion because she's the chair of our communications committee, like she just said, and she's going to let you know all the work they're doing, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers and to see if you have anything you want to ask us about. So now I'm going to share my screen. And as you can see, I was actually going through my slides before I got on. So our first slide is just to welcome you and to this monthly membership meeting. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is voting. So I think we all know that it's incredibly important to vote in this election, that there's multiple things at stake in this election. And so we have been working behind the scenes to provide resources for people, and our web page went live last night. So I wanted to take a minute to show that to you. You can find it on our home page. So I'll tell you where you can find it. I have a link to it, but if you go to our home page, and it's going to be the second banner. So you just move your pointer and you click that arrow, and then you click on vote. And then we have information on all sorts of things you need to know to vote. You can register to vote from our webpage. We have this pretty cool feature where you can put in your zip code. And you can see everyone who's going to be on your ballot. So you can go down and look and see what state senators, your state assembly people. If you click on one of them, it goes to information about them. A lot of times it will have like a link to their web page. So this is just a nice function for you to be able to look at and do some research on the people that you'll be voting for on November 3rd or before November 3rd if you do early voting or if you do voting by mail. We have our voting deadlines here for you, so you can make sure you mark your calendars. Early voting deadlines. You can click on your county to learn more. Again, registering to vote. Anything you want to know about registering to vote. We have absentee ballot registration information so that you can just click. You can click on our different links to get your absentee ballots so you can mail those in and be done voting by November 3rd. And then we just have different information for you to look at. These are all of our PACE endorsements. So our PACE committee has endorsed all of these representatives. So this is a great way for you to go see if anyone is in your district that we've endorsed. You can click on their link and you can go to their website and you can see, what they stand for and what they're backing to see, to learn more about them for when you vote. So that we've endorsed about 20 candidates at this point. So this is the voting page. All right, let me go back to present. And of course, we want everyone voting. So we're going to continue to have social media posts about voting, to provide information for you, to try to make it as easy for you as possible and easy for you to pass this information on to your clients or your coworkers or your family and friends. We just want to make it as easy as possible for people to vote. The next thing I want to talk about is we're actually going to start an annual meeting of the membership. So these are monthly meeting memberships. They're about an hour. We just kind of cover broadly what we're doing at the chapter. And then we always have a co-host who talks about what they're doing at the chapter. But this is going to be a full day meeting of membership. You're going to hear about what the chapter has done in the last year, what we want to do moving forward. You're going to hear from each committee. So you'll hear Notion. She'll be there presenting on her committee. And then we're going to break out at the end of the day, and you can choose to go into a breakout room and learn more about any committee that you're interested in and ask questions, ask how to get involved. So this is really for you, and it's a way for us as a chapter to be transparent about the work we're doing. And really our ultimate goal is that we want to be a fully membership-led organization. And by doing, we have to have your voices to do that. So we need to hear what you think. We need to hear your questions. We need to hear what direction that you think we should be going. So mark your calendars as a save the date for November 14th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's going to be virtual, of course, because of COVID, and we'll be sending out an agenda and a description shortly. So just be on the lookout for that. We are continuing all of our racial initiatives. So for the education part of our racial initiatives, if you're a member of NASW, we're guaranteeing at least one free for members of our anti-racist series every month. Our October training is called Decolonizing Social Work Practice, Reexamining How to Best Serve Marginalized Communities. It's a great opportunity to learn from a local practitioner to the Capital District region. I realize he may not be local to everyone, but he's a clinical social worker, and he also does a lot of community organizing in the Albany area. This is a great opportunity to get 2.5 free CEs and also learn how to build your anti-racist practice. Our Racial Justice Forum, if you haven't been able to join one of these, I encourage you to join. The purpose of this is really for people to engage in self-reflection, and it's training. It's training on how to have conversations about race. So we don't tape these are not filmed, so we can't show you what they look like, and we purposely don't record them because we want a space where people can speak freely and can ask questions, and that we can really start to demantleize racist systems and structures and ways that we think about things. This is formatted in small groups. So we come together, we start together, we do some like exercises, we have some ground rules, we do some breathing exercises to teach you, how to breathe through if you're feeling discomfort, things like that. Then we're gonna separate you into breakout groups. Each group is co-facilitated by a white social worker and a BIPOC social worker. BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, People of Color. And the facilitators then lead a discussion. Our next meeting is October 29th at 7, and the topic is going to be allyship. And all the groups are mixed, so it's a great opportunity to listen, to learn, to ask questions, and to engage in the content. Then we have our town hall series. Notion actually helped develop this series, so it's great that she's with us today. The purpose of this is to really what we're calling revolutionize the social work profession. So it's an acknowledgement that racism exists in our profession. It has historically, and it exists today. And through town halls, we are defining goals. So we started with our own chapter. Like if we were truly a racially just NASW New York State chapter, what would that look like? And we set several goals for that. Our next meeting is next Tuesday night at 6. We're going to start our series on looking at schools of social work. So we're going to have 3 town halls about this in September, October, and November. And we're going to be setting goals as if the schools of social work were racially just, what would that look like? Those will become our goals. Then we're going to move on to clinical practice and macro practice. Once we have all our goals set, then we're going to break out into work groups. Each work group will be facilitated by a BIPOC social worker, and we're going to create action steps to meet each goal. At the end of this, we realize this is a long process. It will probably take 18 to 24 months. We are hoping, and we will, disseminate our results to the right parties. So for schools of social work, we want to get a meeting with CSWE, who accredits our schools. We want to meet with the Association of Deans. We want to meet with deans in New York State and show them our findings and have a conversation with them about how they can implement it. Same thing with our clinical and macro practice and with our own chapter. this whole process will be transparent, and we'll be talking to you throughout the whole thing and letting you know what we're doing and welcoming you to be a part of this change work. The one team listserv. So this is our Veterans Mental Health Training Initiative. We have a very vibrant Veterans Advisory Committee. This is funded through a grant, and we have really increased what we're doing with this initiative. We do offer one free training a month, usually on a veteran topic. We also have been engaging in panels. So we did a panel with peer support and veterans, and then we did 2 panels around 9/11, where we had veterans come on and talk about their experience. Everyone from, we had a Vietnam veteran to post 9/11 veterans talking about what their service meant and what 9/11 meant to them and how it changed their lives. And we have a women's veterans panel coming up in October. We're going to start advertising that soon. And then we'll also be hosting other veteran panels like BIPOC veteran channels, LGBTQ veteran panels, families, like what do you do with, families of service members panels. So keep watching our website. We update it all the time. Our committee also is hosting a book club the first Thursday of every month. They're reviewing the book called Warrior, which talks about doing clinical social work with the veteran population and their families. And then we have a listserv. Our listserv it's free, it's open to anyone, and it's ran by our Veteran Advisory Committee. Most members of that committee are service members and clinicians. So they run it, they field questions. We've had people go on the listserv and they're having an issue with a client they're working with, and the committee gets them resources usually within 2 or 3 hours to help the veterans. So that's our One Team Veterans Initiative. We just started this initiative. This is called our Private Practice Work Group. We had our first meeting, I think it was last Friday at noon. So this initiative is being facilitated and led by Callie Contos. She is the Vice President of Budget and Financing on our board of directors. She's also a private practice clinician, and she's been working with us for months, and we've been working with other private practitioners and saw a need for private practitioners to get together to talk about what your needs are. Like, what do you need? What support do you need from the chapter? What are some common issues we can look at? So on Friday, we talked a lot about telehealth and the legislation surrounding telehealth and how we can advocate to get telehealth implemented permanently. And certainly throughout the COVID pandemic, because right now it's guaranteed for New York State insurance companies. They have to allow practitioners to practice telehealth through an executive regulation. That's been extended to November 9th. So we want that to continue to be extended or permanent legislation to be put in place. Our next meeting is Friday, October 16th, 10 a.m. This is open to everyone, and we welcome you to have these discussions with us. And now I am going to hand it over to Notion.
Thank you, Sam. So as I said before, I'm the chair of the COM committee, the Communications, Outreach, and Marketing Membership Committee. And what we really focus on through this committee is figuring out how we can recruit and engage with our current members and interact with new members, and really see how we can help members and social workers in general find a way to connect with the NASW. So we do this by hosting and organizing certain projects. So one of the projects that we did last year is Generation Strong, and this is around the time, I think this was during March, during Social Work Month. And what this project really focused on was connecting different generations of social workers. So if I was a student and I interviewed one of my professors at my undergrad, a lot of the responses were connecting with social workers who inspired them to become social workers, or relatives who were social workers. And it was a really wonderful project that helped us see how social work can really be inspiring through the generations. And one of my favorite projects that we actually did is the graduation project. Yes, the 2020 yearbook. And this was because of COVID. So around the time when all of us were about to graduate with our MSW, our BSW, some were getting their PhDs, we had COVID. So obviously a lot of our graduations went virtual. And as all of us know, social work is a really rigorous process with our internships, our classes, our readings, and all of that. So I wanted to create a way where we could still celebrate, and the NASW was a really great way to provide that platform. And so the comm committee created the 2020 yearbook where all of our 2020 graduates were able to submit a photo and a quote, and we just highlighted all of their accomplishments through the website and the social media. And we had a really great engagement with the students, so that was amazing. And one of our most recent projects is actually Spirit of Social Work. And this wasn't because of how much social work and a lot of social work practice has changed because of COVID and also the Black Lives Matter movement. So a lot of these issues have brought light to how social work can be changed in its practice, or how social workers, when it comes to COVID, they've had to turn to telehealth, they've had to terminate with clients early. When it came to physical for students, we had to end our field placements early. So obviously our profession went through some changes, and the spirit of social work was to recognize how, as social workers, how did you react? How did your agency react? How did you process all of this? And it's a project that's still ongoing. We're still collecting submissions, but it's just to highlight how we, as social workers, we've been, persistent. We've gone through so many hardships, so many crises, but, this is how we're still practicing social work. And one of our new projects that we're actually working on is a student panel. So I don't know if anyone has seen the BIPOC survey that NASW released. So it's a survey that's collecting how BIPOC students and BIPOC social workers in general experience racism, discrimination in their profession. And one of the common themes that I saw in this was that students had seen a lack of representation in whether it's administration or the supervisory, where their agency or the supervisors are white or non-BIPOC. And so there's this lack of representation, or that there's this lack of understanding of different experiences. And so what this panel is really for is it's a panel organized and designed to help students understand the different fields of practices in social work, but the panelists will be BIPOC social workers, so that they can really get that lens of understanding what different fields of practices are, but also through that racial lens where, it's a different type of experiences, different things to navigate. And some of the topics that we're going to cover is self-advocacy for students. So how can students advocate for themselves, whether it's for their field placements or for their classes in general. Another topic we want to cover is mental health, because with everything going on in the world, education is different. Our experience with field placements is different. There's a greater need of mental health and self-care, especially when our work and our home environment can often be the same place. And then obviously another topic we're going to do is race in social work. So how can you as students navigate the conversation of race, whether it's within your classrooms, whether it's with your peers or with your field placement in general. And what this panel is really aiming to do is help students really connect with BIPOC social workers and give them a space where they can explore different topics and fields of practice as well. So we're also going to move towards expanding different fields of practice. We plan to bring in social workers who work as clinical social workers, as political social workers, who work as community organizers. I see this as a great project where we can really engage experienced social workers who are already in the field and our new incoming social workers who are currently getting their education. I think it's a really beneficial space for both the experienced and the new social workers to really come together and have a space where they can discuss different aspects of social work. And so if you're interested in joining the comm committee, we meet once a week. Now we meet every second Monday from 6 to 7, and the time commitment is only for 1 hour. Sometimes throughout the month, we will ask members to maybe find a panelist or think of certain topics that we can discuss during the meeting, but the time commitment isn't really much. It is volunteer based, but our committee members are great. We always have time in the committee. Obviously, we work so hard to work on these projects, and my intention with the committee is to continue to work on these great projects and continue to make an inclusive NASW where we can really engage with our members and help engage with students and get more members to join NASW as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Notion. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We usually have Amelia. She usually kind of works the background for me. That's why I'm not as good as her. So sorry I missed your first slide there, Notion. So I want to open it up to questions, and they can be about anything. Do you have any questions about what we're doing? Any questions about the profession? Anything you think we should be doing? Anything like that? Give people a minute to think about that. Any questions about what we offer, anything like that?
While people are thinking, I'll just jump in. So I'm a long-term social worker, 30 plus years, child welfare, then addiction treatment. And so I have to say I'm profoundly impressed. There was a time when NASW had nothing going on, and which is when I was starting in the field. So the difference between then and now is really tremendous. So I'm definitely impressed. I'm not embarrassed to be part of NASW right now, and I don't consider it a waste of money either. So which membership was at the time. I hate to say it, but it is.
I so appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. When I came in a year ago, that was the first question I asked myself is, why would I be a member? And, you know, I consider $236 a year to be a lot of money. And I was like, what, you know, what do our members get for that membership fee? And like, I wanted there to be tangible benefits like free CEs that we offer, but then also like untangible benefits, like, you know, offering things like our chapter chat during COVID and being responsive to things. We view it at the chapter level that our job is to serve you. We're here, the staff is here to serve the members. And we have this great, and I think, Patty, I think you actually serve on a committee too. I know your name, like, but yeah, like, and our members who serve on committees and volunteer, like, you know, Notion volunteers on a committee. I know Patty volunteers on a committee. Like, we wouldn't be who we are without you. You are the profession and you are the chapter. So we so appreciate you being involved with everything you do. Notion, do you want to talk about some of the things you take advantage of by being a member of the chapter?
Yes, I would love to. So as a student, I know not for all members, but I do get access to free CE courses. I know Dr. V was one of my old professors, and I think if there are any other professors here, it'd be a great resource to share for your students as well. If you're a student member, you get free access to CE courses, and they are amazing. You get access to Listening to an Experienced Social Worker. It's another educational resource for us. And I think it's a really great benefit to having the membership with the NASW. Also, not just the COM committee, I'm also part of the case committee. And joining these committees has given me a way to practice my social work while I'm learning social work as well. And obviously, a lot of us may not be in school right now. We're already practitioners, but this is another great way to really get involved and improve the profession. And I think that's been one of the most rewarding aspects of even joining NASW, whether it's through the town hall series or the anti-racist forums that they're hosting. Another really great benefit that I've seen is through the committees and just getting involved with NASW. I've met so many social workers, not just across New York, but across the country. And these are really great resources for me because I know different social workers who are working in these different fields. And I've reached out to a couple of them too. And I wouldn't have been able to if I didn't meet them through these events that NASW have been hosting. So as a student, I'm just realizing how amazing networking is, but the NASW has given me a great platform where I can really utilize that ability. And then just being able to get involved and find a way to work on an issue that I'm really passionate about, especially if you're really interested in a topic. I think AGR committee is closed, but through any of the committees, you can really find a way to include your passion or an interest that you're really interested about. And I think the NASW just provides a really great platform to dip your feet in and get like interested in all of this. This might be talking from a student perspective, but I think just as general members, it's really beneficial.
I think.
Go ahead. Oh, please talk. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry. I'm always so proud of Notion. So, but I think, you know, I'm impressed too, because Patty, I go back through NASW for decades as well, and it's really like reassuring to see kind of this revitalization of the organization. It's so important. And Notion knows I do my best to try to get our students to join NASW as a student. And I think what you were just speaking about, Notion, is important for prospective members, whether they're students or practitioners in the field already, to really know, right? And this kind of renewed organization, and that, you know, we're doing in all different areas, I guess, and making those connections. It's really interesting when you were talking, Notion, how for students and the practitioners, like a mentoring kind of program to connect, you know, the newer or the students or the newer practitioners to seasoned professionals that both get the benefit of, because, you know, so much has been changed in social work education that, you know, in my kind of private practice role, you know, I would love to have, you know, the connection of what's new and like how is the spirit of the profession kind of changing with the times and everything. And I think so opportunities for those connections and kind of mentorship opportunities would be great.
Thank you. And I messaged Notion, but I don't know if she saw it. It's like, do you want to address that peer mentorship thing that I noticed she called you Dr. V, that Dr. V brought up?
I'm so sorry, I couldn't respond to Dr. V instead. The peer question in general about like the peer mentorship program.
Yeah, okay. What your thoughts were on that and everything.
So thank you, Dr. V, for bringing that up. The panel was originally supposed to be a full thought out mentorship program, but we first thought maybe it's good to introduce it as a panel where because a lot of us have a lot of questions on the different fields we want to go into. How does it really work? What are the different things that I should look out for? Because each field has a different niche and a different way of working. And I think what the panel provides is a format where the panelist or the speaker can really speak about their experience. And then obviously we have the question and answer portion. And it's going to be a safe space. And obviously we do want to provide a racial justice lens as well if it applies. And I think it always applies because it is informed by the BIPOC survey. And one of the biggest gaps that students have been seeing is that lack of representation in that inclusive lens. But it is functioning sort of like a peer mentorship program because we obviously want the students and the panels to really connect and find a person who can connect to as well. I hope that answered your question and gave some more light on the reason behind the panel program.
I think it sounds great. Well, all of the programs that you mentioned, Sam.
And we agree with you about the peer mentorship program, because I think we all know as social workers how much it has meant to have mentors in our lives and to also provide that mentorship. And part of my research background is I was one of the program evaluators for a statewide peer support program for veterans. And so I have all this data on peer support. And one of the cool things about this program was there wasn't a model. So each county, when they implement the program, can implement it based on the needs of their own county. So like the counties, there were both counties on Long Island, so Suffolk and Nassau. There's 150,000 veterans there, and they're mainly older veterans. So the way they implemented peer support looked way different than Westchester, which was younger veterans and everything. So like I saw all these models of peer support, from group, like a group-based model, to one-to-one mentorship model, to activity-based peer support and peer mentorship. So the data is very clear that peer mentorship works, and it's a great way to get involved. So I'm really excited that our chapter wants to do this. And so our conversations with Notion has been that maybe it might belong in a different committee because her committee takes on a lot. So that's one of the things we were talking about. All the chairs of the committees actually meet together every couple of months. And that was in our last chairs of the committees meeting, is possibly moving that project into a different committee so that it can get some teeth in it and look different. But I mean, what you're doing, like you said, is a form of peer support and peer mentorship. What you're doing with the panels, like there's not one way, like to do something. The more creative, the better. And I wanted to also talk about Notion. Notion's doing a lot for NASW today. She's doing a chapter chat this evening at 6 o'clock with her colleague, Evelyn. So they are our student representatives on our board of director, and they're gonna do a chapter chat on why should you join if you're a student. Our chapter chats we came up with this at COVID as a way to socially connect while physically distancing. And in the spring, they were primarily focused on COVID. So like different areas of social work, how are you adjusting to COVID? Like in the hospitals, in the schools, every setting like you can think of. And then it has kind of morphed. So like over the summer, we're doing different topics. So we did voting a couple weeks ago. Notion and Evelyn are going tonight. And I actually just met with one of our members who wants to get involved. And we're going to do one. We're going to schedule probably the third week of October and do a self-care one. I don't know what we're going to call it, but essentially what we want to address is, I've been thinking about this over the weekend. We're living in an extremely stressful time right now. So we have, a worldwide pandemic. We have a moment in our racial justice movement. We have the Supreme Court crisis, and we have a president who just stated last night that he would not leave office. Would not leave office peacefully. So we have all these things going on, and the vote's coming November 3rd. And I was thinking we really need something to talk about. Social workers take care of not only clients, but also our families and our communities, because it's kind of who we are as people. So we wanted to do something that's really kind of self-care, like a facilitated conversation. My idea was I would talk about what I do to relieve stress and how I think about the things that are going on. But the member I met with today, she's way better than I am. And she does meditation and yoga. So I asked her to do it with me. So she's going to talk about some, mindfulness work, breathing, yoga, that type of stuff. I'll still give my, the ways I do it. And then we're going to ask participants to also talk about what are ways that you do stress reduction. How can we take care of ourselves during this very stressful time? What's your plan going into, as we head toward November 3rd, what's your plan? How are you going to take care of you so you can work and so you can take care of your families? So that's going to be our next chapter chat. And then we're going to also start doing some chapter chats with our students. We have 7 interns, and we want them to start doing some chapter chats to tell you about the things they're working on. So that's what's coming up with our chapter chats. Oh, okay. So I see, Dylan, do you want to talk, or it's up to you if you want to talk?
Sure. Yeah. All I was just saying was that I'm trying to sign up on the website. I was thinking I would just call member services after this because I've just been having trouble, but just so you guys are in the loop. Yeah, I'm not able to sign up. It's giving me a lot of difficulty.
Okay, so one thing you can do like immediately, I'm gonna put my email in here. Just shoot me an email and I'll email member services, so you don't have to look up any of that information. I will connect you directly with member services.
Okay, thank you.
You are very welcome.
Is it, just thinking about new grads, and they're really an extension of our students, but they're in a group all themselves. They had a non-graduation, they're having trouble getting jobs, I would imagine. And if they are starting new jobs, they're starting them remotely, so they're very disconnected. And then on top of it, they're faced with their student loans and figuring out how to repay, even if they're working for a not-for-profit or a government agency. So I'm just wondering, is there something that we could offer them in terms of a chapter chat, or is there any chance we might waive fees for new grads?
I think they'd love that.
Well, how do you pay for this when you're not, when you can't get a job?
I will say this isn't widely known information, but like you can call membership services a couple of different plans for people who are like, struggling to make their full payment at once, or like they want to be a member. So they have 3 different plans that they go over with them that they can do. And I know Notion was talking about the need to have to be charged every month versus yearly, like that could help relieve the burden on some people. And so that's something she's actually going to bring up at our board meeting on Saturday, about what can we do as a chapter, as an action to try to get that. And I hear you, Patty, with the students. And this is why when I came in September last year, the goal was, we have to build a foundation. We have to build a foundation so that we can support different initiatives. And I really thought about it almost like breaking down the whole thing and rebuilding it. And that's what we've been doing, is getting the foundation, getting the right employees, the right staff in the right positions to be able to support the members, revitalizing all of our committees, improving our continuing education program and offering relevant trainings. We've completely revamped how we do advocacy, so it's completely member-led. Our members choose our legislative agenda. We have a phenomenal policy coordinator, Evelyn. She's by far the most popular person at our chapter. People love her, and she meets with the members through the committee to talk them through what's the best course of action. This is what you want to do. Is it better that we advocate with the legislature? Is it better that we advocate with the governor? Should we be advocating with state offices? That type of stuff. So those are the changes we've made. And coming into the fall, there were 2 areas of concern for me that I was like, we've got to really put our focus into this. One was students and new professionals, and the other was our divisions, revitalizing that local connection. So we're still working on both of those. We have a lot of our divisions up and running. And then with the students, one reason we took 7 interns, who better to plan what we do with students than students? And then Notion will tell you, we work a lot with Notion and Evelyn, with our student members. And then Afsha just graduated, but we worked with her last year as well. She's another board member. We believe that student members that we have, they help drive the direction of the chapter. They're just as valuable as any member. They're all of our members are valuable. So the students, they know they can contact me at any time. I have student members who text me, they let me know, if I'm missing the ball on something, they tell me. They know they can tell me that that we'll reassess. So that's where we're at. And I think you're right. And I think that's what Notion's doing some of that work in her comm committee. And we are planning a student conference in February. And we're hoping to make that free for all students. So we're kind of building the background of that now, like with advertising, like getting sponsors and giving them advertising packages so that they'll sponsor so the students can come free. And then just keep meeting with our students to see what do you need and what do you want? Like what, you know, what would be of value to you? And I think the mentorship is a big part of that as well, like trying to implement some sort of membership.
Do they, does the student membership extend beyond their graduation for a year or two?
Yes, so there's a transitional rate. So as long as they're a member before they graduate, they
Okay.
receive 3 years of transition. Now, I did just have reported to me that sometimes that's difficult and they don't automatically get it. So I contacted membership services and made them aware of this issue. And they said, you know, like, if anyone's having trouble with that, and what we need to do is like at the end of every school year, we need to be publishing this information, making it well aware and getting it out to the schools of social work. But they said, as long as you connect them with us at membership services, we guarantee they'll get that transitional rate. So we made them aware, and then we'll start to publicize that. Hey, you know, did you try to go sign up for your next year? Did you get your transitional rate? If not, let us know. We'll connect you with membership and you'll get it. So yeah, they tier it up for 3 years.
Okay.
It's a good question. And we're always open to suggestions. Like we try to say we're the office of yes. Like if it's at all possible to do something, we will do it. Like we might say, okay, let's get some volunteers to help with this. But, you know, but we're going to, if it's at all possible, we'll do it. Does anyone else have any questions? You can, you know, ask about anything we're doing, anything you think we should be doing. You all had some really good topics today. I feel like, you know, we covered some things, and again, just reinforcing that need to support the students and the new professionals. So I'm really glad to hear that we have more long-term members who support that and who see the importance of, we want to support the future. They're the future of social work, and we want to support them. So. Notion, do you want to add anything before we end?
I just want to say thank you. And if any of you have time or have students or know anyone who's on the edge of joining, please tell them to join our chapter chat today at from 6 to 7. I think the link will be on the website as well. I think there are really great benefits to joining, and from a student perspective, I think it's a really enriching experience to join as a student. So please join or encourage others to join. And thank you so much.
Do you have kind of, I mean, you always speak so well and giving the reasons why a student should join. Do you have kind of a marketing piece that could be distributed to students specifically?
I think my one, and it sounds a little cliche, but I really truly believe line that I say to anyone who's bordering on joining is that this is your chance to not join the profession and be a part of the change, or be a leader in making that change. Because when you join NASW, you're really working on changing the profession. And I think my experience in joining is that I think I've really been able to see what the profession really is as a student, and how I want to change the social work profession to be even better, whether it's internally or externally as well. And it's your chance to become a leader and make that change. And it's been an amazing experience, and it's so cliche, but I really think it's true for students especially. You know, like, this is your chance to really enter the profession and make it what you want it to be.
So can you all make a marketing actual piece with like your, like, just what you just said, but then also maybe the voice of the other interns that, the other students, and why did they, why did they join, and why did they join particularly as students, instead of thinking, oh, it's something, once I get my degree or once I get my job and everything. Because I think that would be good, like a good marketing piece, as well as a marketing piece to kind of professionals that are out there in the field and kind of like Patty and I's experience of, okay, I've paid my membership and I've kept, I keep paying because I'm a social worker, but, now seeing like how else can I, get value for that membership of all the things that are being done.
Thank you, Dr. V, for bringing that up. And we are working on, Evelyn and I, the BSW and MSW rep, and we actually have another member from the PEACE committee working on a video. It's just, and the video is done, it's just editing. It's just with the reality is like I have school, I have work, and then I have other responsibilities. So the editing part has been on the back burner for 2 weeks now, but we are working on that marketing piece. But I do like that you brought up the interns, and since it hasn't been edited yet, I think that's a valuable voice to bring to the thing as well. But and I think there are different ways to market it as well, but we do have a video, and I really appreciate you bringing that up as well.
Awesome. Well, I'll get it out to who I have, so.
And we actually are starting a new initiative, brand new initiative at the chapter, and it's being led by one of our interns. I'm calling it This is Social Work, but that may be overridden at some point because I'm not known to be the best person to name things. But essentially what our goal was, we kind of identified a problem that all of you who practices social work, when you tell people you're a social worker, the common message you get, oh, you take children or you work in child welfare. So like there's certain things people think of when they think of social work. So our thought, we know that only like 17% of social workers work in child welfare, and that we're an extremely broad profession that's in almost every area of society. So we were like, how do we message that to the general public and also show the diversity of our profession as well as the diversity of social workers? So we have an intern who's going to be interviewing people from all over the state and who practice in different areas. And so we'll have videos of that, and then we're going to also have transcripts, and we'll end up creating a web page to post those as well as a social media campaign for that. But with you talking about that, it makes me think that we should have a student portion of that too. To go in and ask students, and so we could almost like just incorporate that into our current initiative and kind of that. So I mean, Notion already knows I'm coming for her, like that she'll be doing an interview, but yeah, I think that's a really good idea, because what better than the voices of the profession and the voices of the students to that. And I'm going to talk to the student who's working on that to see, she came up with just fantastic questions for the interview. So I'm going to say, hey, let's look at what if we did this for students, and we did like 2 parts of it. And
that'd be great.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, this is why we love having these meetings, because the members have the best ideas. Like, you all have the best ideas. You are the profession and you know what we need. So we want to hear from you. So yeah, I think that we'll just do that. Decision made. We'll just incorporate that.
Awesome. Great. I have another meeting, so I have to go, but thank you again. It's really great. Everything that you mentioned, I'm gonna sign up for some of them. So,
oh, good.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we record, if you go to our Black Lives Matter page, our racial justice page, we record all of our Act Now action. I can't remember what it's called. It's called something with action. And we record all the Revolutionize, the professions. You can go watch recorded.
Okay. Awesome.
And everything. So yes, please enjoy that.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Does anyone else have any questions, any comments or anything?
I have one question. So we're talking about like we're gonna be able to meet those committees at the inaugural meeting. Is there a page where you can get to know what kind of committees are out there just beforehand, so you have an idea of what is out there?
Yes, I'm going to share my screen again, which is a bit of a nightmare. Okay, so one of the things that we have been working on is also updating our website, which we've been working on for a year. So it's a little slow going. So I don't know how updated it is on the website, but Dylan, you're gonna email me anyway, and I'm gonna send you a document with that information. But it is on our website under leadership and governance. And again, I don't know what condition it's in, but when you click on committees, it does list the committees. And I know some of them have been updated, but I don't know that all of them have been updated, but these are our committees that we have. So I think PACE was updated. So yeah, that's the actual committee. So that one's been updated. It tells you like all about what the committee does. But like I said, I don't think all the committees have been updated. So email me and I'm going to send you the list, and the list, it states what their charge is and everything. The only committee right now that has closed is AGR, Advocacy and Government Relations Committee. That being said, we do have members who can't end up meeting the requirements of the committee, and they drop off. So that doesn't mean there won't be a space that opens up, but that's the one committee that right now they have like around 30 members, which is a pretty large committee. So, and then they have subcommittees, and all the subcommittees work on things. So yeah, when you email me, I will definitely send you that list so you can read about them.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, and thanks for asking. Yes, and there's different ways to get involved. You come up with an idea, like I said, we'll try to make it happen. So we're always open to hearing ideas. But I want to thank you all for coming and taking, an hour out of your day. Oh, go ahead, Notion.
On the chat, actually, Emily had a question for how do you sign up for a committee. You can actually email Michael, the president of the chapter, at socialworkvalue@gmail.com, or just email Sam or the NASW in general.
I would email me, and then I facilitate it between the president of the chapter. I'll put my email in again, just so you have it. Yeah, just email me. We need your resume, and then let me know what committee you're interested in. And then I send it to the chair, and then the chair meets with you, and then the president appoints, but the president does whatever the chair, whatever the chair says. So the chair will usually just talk to you about time commitments and what they're working on and things like that. So good question. All right. That I'm going to leave that email up for a minute because our emails are obnoxiously long. So I like to write it in there. But yeah, if you have any questions in between time, I'm going to write we have a general email account, and we have our executive assistant. She checks this a couple times a day. You can also email that account if you have any questions. But yeah, we welcome them. We want to hear from you. I was happy to see Patty because I emailed with her, and then I got to see her today. I got to meet her, so that was really exciting. So yeah, I get excited to meet members and talk to members. So thank you for joining us. We have one of these meetings every month. Our next one will be the last Thursday in October. We have a different schedule for November and December because of the holidays, but we will still be here for November and December. And then, of course, we have our big meeting on November 14th on that Saturday. So save the date, put it in your calendar, and we'll send out information on that. That one will be a members only. So we'll actually have to check registration on that and everything. But yeah, that'll be coming. And thank you for joining us. We love seeing you. Hope you can join us next month. And we hope to see you at our other initiatives. So have a good day.
Thank you so much. And
Thank
I'll
you.
talk to you soon.
Thank you.